Hi everyone, I'm here to review the ColourPop Rock Candy palette. I've done swatches and 4 looks now. I've worn it more than 4 times, but I've only filmed 4 videos. Usually with a palette this big, I would do a lot more looks than that, but it is kind of like, for me, this is a little bit of a boring color palette. I prefer stuff that's got a lot of color in it, but I did buy this because I wanted to have this as a pairing palette. So I do want to keep using it after I review it, but I wanted to just review it for the quality and kind of get that out there so that I can move on to some other stuff that for me is a little bit more fun, but I will still be using this. I picked this one up because it seemed like a good balanced palette. I have one of their older ones, the Bare Necessities palette, and this one is it's like all warm tones in here, pretty much all warm tones. And since they came out with this one, they came out with the Stone Cold Fox, which I have been eyeing for a long time because I like that one is all cool tones, except that that one seems like it's got a lot of redundant shades in it, a lot of like extra stuff that didn't need to be in there, so I never did pick it up. And this one seemed like it had some of what the Stone Cold Fox palette has, like a nice balance. If I had never bought the Bare Necessities, I would probably not get it at this point and just stick with this one, because I feel like it's got most of what I would need in it just for an everyday neutral palette. There's some things in here that I feel like are missing. I would like if there was a matte light shade, like a highlight shade. There isn't one. This might look like one, but it's not. This is a matte with sparkle. A matte white would have been nice. There is a matte black, so that's it's great that they put that one in there, and it is a good quality black. It's not like the highest quality, best thing ever, but it's pretty good. There's also this black, which I think is actually better quality than the matte, but it does have sparkles and sparkle fallout, and maybe not everyone wants sparkly black. There's some duplicate shades in here, like these 4 in the middle, bottom row, could have been reduced to 2 shades. This one and this one, these two are very, very similar too. They didn't need to both be in there. For me personally, I think the most unique shades are this one. This is a metallic silver, and this one is just a pale gray with silver sparkles. And it does have good quality, good color payoff. It's not like the most opaque thing, but it has, for being such a light shade, it's got good color payoff. Yeah, and I just, these ones in this row, I like that there's a lot of range in tones there. So we've got like purple tones and orangey tones and just like your standard neutral browns, some grays and taupes, the silvers, like these are nice to have. And it's got 3 pressed glitters also, so having such a range of textures is also a nice little thing to have. It's very versatile, but it's kind of boring for me. Like, I want more color and I want to mix and match. So do I recommend this palette? I think it's a pretty good palette for $34. It's not my favorite in quality. The shimmers, some of the shimmers have larger sparkles, and they have quite a bit of sparkle fallout. And I don't feel like the sparkle adds a whole lot of like uniqueness to the shades. One of them is, this one is like a bronzy shimmer with large silver sparkles, and you can see the sparkles. They do show up well, so I mean, for someone that they might like that. For me, I feel like it's not super unique and it's kind of annoying to have to clean it up afterwards. This one's also got some silver sparkles. It's not as bad as this one. And on the top row, some of these are more metallic, some are just like smoother shimmers, some are sparkly. And probably, like, for me, one of the biggest drawbacks in this palette is some of the mattes. They have kind of a strange quality to them. When you feel them, they're very velvety and they feel really luxurious, but then they do something strange. Like in my crease, they will darken in like the line of my crease where there's more moisture gathering, or where my primer doesn't dry down as much as like the rest of my eyelid does. Or if I kind of blend too much or layer too much, then it'll kind of darken in spots. So it's a little bit strange, and it's not something I see a whole lot with my other palettes. It isn't like super obvious. It's not something that happens every time I do my makeup, but it is there, and it is a drawback. So that's something to note. If you are a stickler for quality, you prefer things that are like always consistent, always perform the same way, you may want to pass over this and like go for something different. But it's not bad. I think it's a good quality for the price. I do want to compare it to a couple other palettes. Some of you mentioned in the comments. I have the Rose Quartz palette here. This has a similar kind of color feel to it. And there are some similar shades in here. There is a kind of like a lavender in both, and they are pretty similar. They're similar enough to where side by side, and it's not too obvious. Some of the warmer mattes in the top row of the Huda palette, there are some pretty close shades in the ColourPop palette. The gray is kind of similar, but it's not as close as the warmer shades that I mentioned. And all the shimmers are pretty much different between the two palettes, so there is some similarity, but they each are kind of going in different directions. And then someone else mentioned the Tati Beauty palette. And these are also pretty different from each other, but the if I can hold these up, oh my goodness, the glitters are very similar between the two palettes. One of them is, I would say, a true dupe, and that would be the glitter that's in the Soothe column, and the gold one that's in the center row of the ColourPop palette. Those two are like almost identical to each other, and they apply the same way. They're both in both palettes, they are self-adhering glitters. You don't need any type of glitter primer or glitter glue, anything like that. They will just stick by themselves. And I would, when I say that they are similar, I'm going by the size of the particles. So here I've got ColourPop. They're very small particles, and on this other side I've got Tati Beauty. They are like almost identical. But as far as the color range goes, I would say that Tati Beauty is definitely more colorful. This one to me is slightly more, like, I don't want to say more versatile, it depends on how you're going to use it. If you like to stay like natural looking, probably ColourPop is more like up your alley. If you like more colorful, more bold, this one is more like that. Except, I mean, this palette is now discontinued, so. But I'm just saying, like, if you have this palette and you're interested in this one, they're very different. And so hopefully I covered everything. I'm not used to doing reviews like this. Usually I will write them out, and even in that scenario I'm not very good at I don't feel like I'm very good at reviewing. I much prefer to just use the products and show them in action. But if there's something you feel like I missed, or there's, I don't know, something, some feedback so I can do better in the future, let me know in the comments. Alright, see you in the next one.